A beloved teacher vanishes, just completely disappears. And for more than 20 years, the secret of what happened to her was literally sealed inside the walls of her own school. Today, we're going to break down how a simple renovation job cracked open a horrifying crime, and how science, years later, finally brought a truly shocking truth to light. So, let's set the scene. The date is September 15th, 2025. We're at Riverside Elementary School in Spokane, Washington. And for all intents and purposes, it's just another Tuesday. There's a construction crew on site doing a pretty routine renovation. Pulling up old floors, knocking down some walls in a building that's been around for ages. The crew's up on the third floor when they find something weird. Something that just shouldn't be there. Tucked away behind an old supply closet, they find a wall where there isn't supposed to be one. It's not on any of the original 1975 blueprints. It's a hidden, sealed-off room. So the contractor, David Martinez, starts breaking through the drywall. Dust just fills the air. He shines a flashlight into the dark space, and everything just stops. The hammering, the chatter, it all goes completely silent. Because what they found inside this forgotten room is the stuff of nightmares. A human skeleton, surrounded by a pile of old, dusty teaching books. As soon as police arrived, it was clear this wasn't just some tragic accident. A 22-year-old mystery was, at that very moment, starting to unravel. Detective Karen Wilson, a veteran with over 2 decades on the force, gets the call. The scene is just eerie. It's like a time capsule of a crime. The clothes on the skeleton, the style of the books, even a silver bracelet on the wrist, with its hands frozen at 9:15 p.m. It all points to a teacher from a long, long time ago. A quick look at the skull confirms her worst fears. Clear signs of blunt force trauma. Right away, she knows this was no accident. This was a homicide, and that sends her straight to the one place she might find answers: the department's cold case files. And it doesn't take long. All the evidence points to a single, heartbreaking cold case. A young teacher who disappeared from this exact school 22 years ago. So, to really understand what happened in that hidden room, we've got to go back in time. So, who was this woman? Who was the person found sealed inside the walls of the very place she worked? Her name was Amanda White. She was just 25, a bright, passionate educator who'd come back to her hometown to make a real difference. She was the kind of teacher kids adored. She was engaged, planning her wedding, and just full of life. And then, on October 14th, 2003, after staying late at school, she vanished. Her disappearance absolutely shattered her family, her fiancé, and this entire community. The original investigation, well, it just hit a dead end. Her car was still sitting in the school parking lot. Her classroom looked like she just stepped out for a second. There were lessons on the board, a coffee mug still on her desk, but Amanda was gone. No signs of a struggle, no witnesses, no leads. It was like she just vanished into thin air, leaving a wound in this town that never really healed. Now, back in 2003, the police interviewed everyone, including the school's quiet, seemingly helpful principal, a man named Robert Harrison. Nobody, and I mean nobody, suspected he was hiding the most monstrous secret of all. You see, Robert Harrison, a socially awkward guy in his 40s, had developed this really unhealthy obsession with Amanda. He was always finding excuses to be near her, making her deeply uncomfortable. And when she finally, firmly rejected his advances and even filed an HR complaint to protect herself, his private humiliation twisted into a deadly, violent rage. What he did next was just so cold, so calculated. He used Amanda's own kindness against her, luring her to a secluded attic with a story about needing help with textbooks. Once they were alone, the attack was sudden and brutal. But the cover-up? That was something else entirely. He spent the entire night building a drywall wall, meticulously sealing her body inside this forgotten corner of the school. He even went back to her classroom and staged it to look like she just walked away. It was a perfect, horrifying crime. For the next 22 years, Robert Harrison didn't just get away with murder. Oh no, he built an elaborate, almost unbelievable double life. I mean, just try to wrap your head around the sheer audacity of this. Publicly, Harrison was the grieving mentor. He was the one leading school memorials for Amanda. He was the one comforting her heartbroken mother, Patricia. He even created a scholarship in Amanda's name, building his entire reputation on this foundation of grief. All while knowing that her body was entombed just a few floors above his office every single day. Amanda's mother, Patricia, would later talk about this profound, sickening betrayal. For 22 years, she had cried on the shoulder of the very man who had murdered her child. She had accepted his comfort, his flowers on Amanda's birthday, his condolences. The betrayal, it's just beyond words. Okay, so let's fast forward back to 2025. The discovery of Amanda's body finally gave investigators the one thing they never had back in 2003: actual physical evidence. And with that came the incredible power of forensic science, which had taken a quantum leap in those 2 decades. This is where it gets really amazing. Using technology that was basically science fiction in 2003, they unraveled this 22-year-old lie in just a matter of weeks. Forensic specialists found trace amounts of the killer's DNA at the crime scene. It wasn't enough for a standard database match, so they turned to something called forensic genealogy. They uploaded the DNA profile to public ancestry websites, found some distant cousins, and essentially built a family tree backwards, right to the front door of their killer. So just 2 weeks after that construction crew made their discovery, Detective Wilson knocked on the door of the now-retired principal. And when Robert Harrison, now older and grayer, opened it, he just looked tired. He wasn't surprised. It was almost like, for him, the wait was finally over. At the police station, the confession just poured out of him. He described the whole thing, the crime, and the incredible weight he'd carried every single day since, walking past her memorial photo in the hallway, seeing her mom in the grocery store, all while knowing his secret was hidden right above everyone's heads. He said that, in a way, he was relieved to finally be caught. With that confession, the case moved quickly, and the entire community of Spokane was forced to reckon with the awful truth about a man they had respected and trusted for decades. The jury didn't take long. After just 5 days, they came back with a guilty verdict for first-degree murder. The judge sentenced Robert Harrison to life in prison. He won't even be eligible for parole until he's served at least 25 years. 22. Just think about that number. 22 years. That's how long a killer walked the halls of a school passing a memorial for the victim he himself had hidden just upstairs. That's how long he built a career on the memory of the woman he murdered. It's a number that represents a betrayal that's almost impossible to comprehend. In an effort to heal and to reclaim her legacy, the community did something truly powerful. They decided that her story wasn't going to be defined by her killer. They took down the old name of the school and renamed it Amanda White Elementary, making sure her name would forever be a symbol of hope and education, not tragedy. In the end, this is a terrible story about obsession and betrayal. But it's also, I think, a powerful reminder that the truth, no matter how long it's buried, can eventually come to light. By taking her story back from her killer, the community gave Amanda her legacy back. They finally allowed her to be remembered, not for the awful way she died, but for the beautiful way she lived, as a beloved teacher, never, ever forgotten.